All right, everyone, I'd like to get started. So I will call the meeting to order. Bonjour et bienvenue. Merci pour être ici avec nous cet après-midi. I'm going to start by pointing out that Councillor Kavanaugh, who's a member of the Nominations Committee, is joining us remotely, but have a balance between new and returning councillors on various committees and achieve other goals in order to make this a fully representative group of have full representation on all the committees. So it's a complicated process, but it's been a productive one, and we are ready to move forward with some motions for the nominating committee, which will then go before City Council tomorrow. So again, thank you to everyone who was part of this process. And I'm going to ask the Deputy City Clerk now to provide a little bit of an overview of what we're doing here. That's okay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The nominating committee procedures are set out in section 4 of the procedure bylaw as adopted by council as part of the governance report. Nominations will be made in writing and considered through a series of motions regularly moved. The nominating committee will have before it 5 motions setting out nominations for first motion will be members of standing committees, Transit Commission and the LRT subcommittee. The second motion will be appointments to local boards. The third will be appointments to the council representatives to municipal organizations. Fourth motion will be the appointments of council liaisons as established through the governance report. And the final motion will set out nominations for members of the selection panels for public member appointments to various committees and boards. Each motion will be put to the nominating committee for consideration and a vote. The committee may vote on the entire motion, or a member may call for a separate vote on each committee. Traditionally, nominating committee members may ask questions and may comment on the motions and on the overall composition of the committee. It has been past practice for nominating committee and council not to entertain speeches by members for or against their own candidacy. And it has also been past practice not to enter into debate on the individual merits of specific individuals during public meeting. Finally, should there be additional nominations proposed to a particular committee, either at nominating committee or when this rises to council tomorrow, that may be done via a majority vote. Should the committee in question not have reached its maximum composition, otherwise a runoff vote would be required in accordance with the procedures set out in section 74 of the procedure bylaw. Finally, as the mayor had noted, these nominations, once approved by the nominating committee, will rise to council tomorrow for final approval by City Council.
Thank you, Deputy City Clerk. Before we go any further, are there any declarations of interest? All right. I'll now ask Mr. Zviashowski to do the roll call, please.
Councillor Brockington.
I'm here.
Councillor Curry.
Here.
Councillor Gower.
Here.
Councillor Kavanaugh.
Present.
Councillor Kitts.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Here.
And Mayor Sutcliffe.
Here.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right. Let's move to the first motion then, which is for appointments to standing committees, subcommittee, and transit commission for the 2022 to 2026 term of council. Councillor Tierney.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the nominating committee has received and reviewed result councillors' response to the nominating committee survey circulated to members of council on December 7th, 2022. Whereas the nominating committee has considered the members' preferences and kept in mind to ensure that the citywide balance and perspective on various standing committees, subcommittees, and transit commission. And whereas the nominating committee is also considered as much as possible each councillor's previous service, experience, and areas of interest. Therefore, be it resolved that the nominating committee recommend to council to appoint the following members of council in various standing committees, subcommittees, transit commission, including recommended chairs and vice chairs as follows. 1, Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee, Councillor Derues, Chair. 2, Councillor Clark, Vice Chair. 3, Councillor Brown, Councillor Kitts, and Councillor Luloff. On Committee 2, Audit Committee, Councillor Curry, Chair. Councillor Brown, Vice Chair. Councillor Hill, Councillor Lowe, Councillor Kavanaugh, Councillor Kitts, Councillor Hubley, Councillor Carr. Committee 3, Built Heritage Committee, Councillor King as Chair, Councillor Plant as Vice Chair, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Troster, Councillor Leeper. On Committee 4, Community Services Committee, Councillor Dudas as Chair, Councillor Brady as Vice Chair. Oh, Bradley, forgive me. Thank you. Still learning everyone here. Councillor Troster, Councillor Carr, Councillor DeRoche, Councillor Lowe, Councillor Hubley, and Councillor Kavanaugh, subject to the provision of the criminal records check and a signed declaration by the city clerk in accordance with the Fixed Long-Term Act of 2021. Committee 5, Emergency Preparedness and Protective Services Committee, Councillor Brockington is Chair, Councillor Hill is Vice Chair, Councillor Hubley, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Blunt, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Dudas, Councillor Luloff, Councillor Devine, Councillor DeRoche, and Councillor Bradley. On to Committee number 6, Environment and Climate Change Committee, Councillor Menard as Chair, Councillor Carr as Vice Chair, Councillor Brockington, Councillor Curry, Councillor King, Councillor Tierney, Councillor Luloff, Councillor Hill, Councillor Kavanaugh, Councillor Brown, and Councillor Devine. For Committee number 7, Finance and Corporate Services Committee, Councillors Luloff, Kitts as Member at Large, and Councillor Kitts to be Vice Chair. Committee number 8, Planning and Housing Committee, Councillor Leeper as Chair, Councillor Gower as Vice Chair, Councillor Kavanaugh, Councillor Tierney, Councillor Kitts, Councillor Kelly, and Councillor Curry. Councillor Troster, Councillor Lowe, Councillor Dudas, Councillor Johnson, and Councillor Brockington. For Transit Commission, Councillor Gower is Chair, Councillor Curry as Vice Chair, Councillor Brockington, Councillor Carr, Councillor Lowe, Councillor Tierney, Councillor Hill, and Councillor Leeper. Transportation Committee, Councillor Tierney as Chair, Councillor Kitts as Vice Chair, Councillor DeRoche, Councillor Devine, Councillor Derues, Councillor Gower, Councillor Bradley, Councillor Luloff, Councillor Troster, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Dudas, and Councillor Lowe. For the Light Rail Subcommittee, Councillor DeRoche as Chair, Councillor Curry as Vice Chair, Councillor Tierney, Councillor Gower, Councillor Leeper. Committee 12, Committee of Revision, Councillors Clark as a representative of Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee. 2, Councillor Brown as a representative for Environmental and Climate Change Committee. Councillor DeRose as representative of Transportation Committee. 13, that the 5 members of Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee sit on the Court of Revision in accordance with the Drainage Act. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. I understand that motion is seconded by Councillor Kitts. Thank you for all that reading. Are there any other motions or amendments? Is that okay? Is the motion carried?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, yep.
All right, I think Councillor Kavanaugh's raised her hand virtually.
Okay, sorry. And so has Councillor Brockington. Councillor Brockington, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question of clarification from the Deputy Clerk. There are different numbers of members on particular committees. Some are at 12, some are less than 12. Can I just be reminded, what's the maximum number of members we can have on a committee?
The maximum number of members you can have on the committee is either what is specifically provided for in governance. So for example, the Built Heritage Committee has a fixed composition that includes 5 members of council. Otherwise, if it is not otherwise specified in the governance report, it would be 12 members, not including ex officio members.
And that is basically 13 would be a majority. It would be past that 50%. I just want to make sure we're sort of at that limit.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. Quorum of council is 13 and the maximum composition of committees have been 12.
Great. And are there any committees where we are leaving room to appoint people at a future date, or are all committees maxed out on the number of appointments?
In a quick review of the motion, not all committees have that maximum composition. So there would be the opportunity at council should there be additional nominations coming forward.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brockington. Councillor Kavanaugh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I raised this before, and even though we passed a motion regarding the light rail subcommittee being a max of 5, we do notice that there is not a gender balance, and I'm going to suggest that we consider to up it, which would require a motion to 6 to put gender balance. I'm putting my own name forward. I think those are all excellent people that are on it, but I think that would be helpful and would take into consideration the major impact of the stage 2 LRT on Bay Ward. So I don't know if that is considered to be in order now or for the future.
So my understanding is that that would require a motion at council tomorrow to reconsider the membership limit on the transit, the LRT subcommittee, rather. Is that right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. I'm of the view that appointing an additional member beyond what council established through the governance report consideration would not be in order at the nominating committee. And I'm of the preliminary view that council could revisit this, but would require 3 quarters, as it would be revisiting the last meeting's decision.
Okay, thank you. So
Okay.
Councillor Kavanaugh, we can speak about that after the meeting and in terms of what that means for tomorrow's council meeting, but it's not something we can change at this meeting.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, is the motion carried?
Carried.
Thank you. All right, next is appointments to boards for the coming term of council. Councillor Tierney, once again.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the nominating committee has received and reviewed the results of the council's response to the nominating committee survey circulated to members of council on December 7th, 2022. Whereas the nominating committee has considered members' preferences and to keep in mind the need for a citywide balance of perspective in various standing committees, subcommittees, and transit commission. And whereas the nominating committee has also considered as possible every councillor's previous experience and areas of interest, therefore be resolved that the nominating committee recommend the appointment of the following members to the various boards. 1, Ottawa Police Service Board. In addition to the mayor, Councillor Carr, Councillor Curry, Councillor Carr and Councillor Curry. On second board, the Ottawa Public Library, Councillor Matt Luloff, and Councillor recommend to the Ottawa Public Library that Councillor Luloff be named chair of the library board. Councillor Bradley, Councillor King, Councillor Kitts. Board number 3, Ottawa Board of Health, Councillor Kitts. And the councillor recommended that the Ottawa Board of Health consider Councillor Kitts being nominated as the chair to the board. Councillor King, Councillor Gower, Councillor Kavanaugh, Councillor Dudas, and Councillor Carr. 4, Hydro Ottawa Holdings, Councillor Laura Dudas for the mayor's position, and Councillor Curry. 5, the Ottawa Community Housing Corporation, in addition to the mayor ex officio, Councillor Kavanaugh, that the board recommend that Ottawa Community Housing Corporation board, that the Councillor Kavanaugh be nominated to the chair of the board, to Councillor Carr, Councillor Plant, and Councillor Gower. 6, the City of Ottawa Superannuation Fund, Councillor Brown, Councillor Carr, Councillor Dudas. 7, Ottawa Community Lands Development, DeRuse. What did I say? Oh, DeRuse, forgive me. 7, Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation, in addition to the mayor, Councillor Clark, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Leeper. 8, Crime Prevention Ottawa, Councillor Hill for the mayor's position, and Councillor Hubley. 9, the Ottawa Film Board, Councillor Devine for the mayor's position. 10, the Shaw Board, Councillor Bradley and Councillor Plant. 11, the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority, Councillor Menard, Councillor DeRuse, and Councillor Kavanaugh. 12, Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Gower, and Councillor Curry. South Nation Conservation Authority, Councillor DeRuse, and Councillor Kitts. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Again, I believe the motion is seconded by Councillor Kitts. Any questions? Councillor Brockington,
Get my money's worth here, Mayor.
you didn't bring Halloween treats for anyone else?
No, I went to Councillor Bradley's office before
Okay.
I came, but to the deputy clerk, my question is in regards to the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation, sort of arm's length, a real estate corp. We have the mayor as one of the 4 attendees or appointments to this. Some committees where the mayor sits, he is able to designate a replacement should he wish. Does that apply to this corporation, or it's the mayor attends or he doesn't attend and there's no ability to have someone attend in his place?
Mr. Mayor, generally speaking, the mayor under the Municipal Act may designate his seat on any local board or committee of council. That said, this is a municipal services corporation. I'd have to go back and review the terms of reference for that corporation before council tomorrow in order to confirm whether that would be the case. Generally speaking, that would be the case for other boards and committees.
I would like to seek that clarification. And I'll speak to the mayor after just to tell him why, but that's an important corporation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brockington. Are there any other questions? Is the motion carried?
Carried.
All right, moving on to appointments to external agencies and municipal organizations. Councillor Tierney.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to dispose with the whereas clauses because the important part is therefore be resolved that the nominating committee recommend to council appoint the following members of council to the Ottawa City Council representatives of various external agencies and municipal organizations. 1, Association of the Francophonie Municipale of Ontario, Stephanie Plante, Councillor Plante. 2, the Canadian Capital Cities Organization, Councillor Dudas. 3, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, Roma, Councillor Kelly. And when it comes to Ontario Good Roads Association, Councillor DeRoche. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Are there, again, seconded by Councillor Kitts. Are there any questions? Riley? Okay. Is the motion carried?
Carried.
Thank you, everyone. Next, appointment of council liaisons. Councillor Tierney will spread this work around next time, I promise.
It's all good. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the governance report considered by council at its meeting of December 7th, 2022, recommended that the mayor be tasked with recommending the appointments of council liaisons for anti-racism and ethnocultural relations initiatives, council liaison for women, gender equity, and 2S LGBTQ plus affairs, council liaison for veteran and military issues, and council liaison for an Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation civic cultural protocol and implement plans for the nominating committee process. Therefore, be resolved that the nominating committee recommend the appointment of Councillor King as the City of Ottawa's Anti-Racism Ethnocultural Relations Initiative, Councillor Troster as the City of Ottawa's Council Council Liaison for Women, Gender, Equity, and 2SLGBTQ plus affairs, and Councillor Luloff as the City of Ottawa's Council Liaison for Veterans and Military Issues, for Councillor Bradley for the City of Ottawa's Council Liaison for Anishinaabe Algonquin National Civic Cultural Protocol and Implementation Plan. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Against, that motion is seconded by Councillor Kitts. Are there any questions? Is the motion carried? All right, finally, the appointment of selection panels for advisory committees, boards requiring public appointment and committee of adjustment. Councillor Tierney.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll dispose of the whereas clauses as it's reflective of all the previous ones and go to therefore it be resolved that the nominating committee recommend council appointment of the following members of council to various selection panels for advisory committees, boards requiring the appointment of committee of adjustment. In addition to the mayor's ex officio member of all selection panels. One, the Built Heritage Committee, Councillor King and Councillor Brockington. Two, the Accessibility Advisory Committee, Councillor Kavanaugh and Councillor Luloff. Three, Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority, Councillor Kelly and Councillor Curry. Four, the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority, Councillor Hill and Councillor DeRoche. Five, the South Nation Conservation Authority, Councillor Kitts and Councillor Drews. Six, the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation, Councillor Carr and Councillor DeRose. It's a long list. Seven, the Ottawa Police Services Board, Councillor King and Councillor Curry. Eight, Ottawa Public Library Board, Councillor Luloff and Councillor Bradley. Nine, Committee of Adjustment, Councillor Kitts and Councillor Menard. 10, the Ottawa Board of Health, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Gower. 11, Moore's Landing, Queen Point Authority, Councillor Kelly and Councillor Drews. 12, the Shaw Center. Is that correct?
And Councillor Tierney, it is confirmed. I forgot to take out.
Okay, that's not TBC, so I guess I'm on there. Okay, so Shaw Center, Councillor Pont and Councillor Tierney, so I'll hang out with Stephanie on that one, which is great. And number 13, Property Standards and Licensing Appeals Committee, Councillor Brockington and Councillor Hill. Be it further resolved that the members of the council who are chairs of the respective committees and boards sit ex officio on the selection panels where applicable, and be it further resolved that the following city councillors be appointed to the councillors working group with the city clerk to develop the report on the advisory committees, council sponsors groups, councillors advisory tables, and the proposed new transit advisory body as approved in the 2022 to 2026 council governance review, be it Councillor King, Councillor Luloff, Councillor Menard, Councillor Johnson, and Councillors DeRoche. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Again, seconded by Councillor Kitts. Any questions? Okay, is the motion carried?
Carried.
All right, thank you again, Councillor Tierney, for all that reading. Any in-camera items or any other business for this committee? All right, motion to adjourn, please.
Carried.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Good job, Mr. Mayor.
Missy?